Hi, welcome back at you guys. This is Rafael and Yeyo de Mexico. I have Brenna with me today. Brenna is our amazing bar director here at Yeyo's, and we are here by the light of the Luchador, which is our powerhouse. It enables us to do great things for you guys. So we're going to be answering some questions as well. We have a proton depot dough. It's very hard to read this one. Proton deep bid dough. Mezcal versus tequila. Okay, so tequila is obviously has been the trending spirit of Mexico for many years. But before tequila did existed, mezcal and a drink called pulque that derives from the spirit of agave. When the Spaniards came, the conquistadors, they found that these were already being used by the civilizations in old Mexico. Pulque is still widely used in all of Mexico for the most part, and obviously the central part of the country with Puebla and obviously the Estado de Mexico, Oaxaca, Michoacan, all of that central region of Mexico is known to having great, tasty pulque. The pulque is the juice and the agua miel, or the juices fermented within the plant that people cultivate. And it's a slime. It's not very tasty actually, but it says it comes in a slimy format, super concentrated, almost sour, like a super concentrated kombucha, if you will, without the sparkling. But that's how people started drinking pulque, and then the distilling process was already in place when the Spaniards came into Mexico. So that is a artisanal in grade process that was existed then and it still exists today. That's the difference between tequila and mezcal. The main difference is that the mezcal that we bring into Yeyo's, for instance, is artisanal in grade. That means it goes through a full process of harvesting. Obviously, the planting takes place, the harvesting takes place. It cooks on the ground with direct smoke and fire, lava rocks. It sits there for 2 to 3 days. In some cases, 5 days, like the case of the Tepestante from Gracias a Dios in Santiago Matatlan, central Oaxaca. And then one of the main things that identifies mezcal as a spirit that is different from tequila is the smokiness. Now, these are artisanal in grade because there's no big machinery used. They will use only tools made by men, by hands, if you will. So the pressing takes place by a big wheel that's pulled by the horses, and then it goes into the fermenting pots or tinas, and there it ferments for 2 to 3 days, and then from there it goes into the alambiques, which is the device that is used for the actual distilling. This, in the case of most of our mezcals here at Yeyo's, they are distilled in copper or clay or a combination of both, and they're super small batch, kind of like a really great wine or a really great cheese that comes from a specific region. That is the big difference. Tequila is also amazing, but it also comes in a more industrialized format. So think of mezcal as the great regions of single origin grapes. Same thing with single origin agave plants and super small batches, all 100% artisanal. That's going to be the difference between tequila and mezcal. And obviously the taste is amazing. The notes are way different than any tequila I've ever had, and you have to look for those original mezcales that are coming with the single origin or the denomination of origin, as well as the process. They're usually a maestro mezcalero. You'll see in the bottles. I don't know if we can get a bottle with a maestro mezcalero in it. Can we get a bottle with that I can showcase the small batch? So we have Oaxaca, for instance. We have an espadín artesanal, and this is Maestro Mezcalero Alberto Morales. Normally you'll see the signature, the batch number, the lot number, and it goes down to the specific region of where this agave was harvested. It can be a wild agave, it can be a farm agave, but in either case, it's going to have something very special along with the name of the Maestro Mezcalero. In this case, we have a Tequiliana. Tequiliana is one of the only mezcals that we have from the state of Michoacan that comes with over 100% proof. So this is very, very great and also a little dangerous. But this one also comes with batch number, lot number, the year it was harvested, how many liters did they make, and all of this stuff. So this is only 644 of 680 bottles. So you can see that. So and then we have, so that explains a little bit of difference between mezcal and tequila. And then we have best store-bought chips, question by Jenna herself. I personally, Jenna, like the old Mission tortillas. That's one of the tortilla chips, or Mission, because it brings me back to my times in California in the late 80s and early 90s. That's one of the brands that has been in business for many, many years, and it, obviously because it's the homemade taste that we can get more traditional than the regular store-bought stuff. Now, these are, you can find in most of the supermarkets that have Hispanic products on hand. I'm not sure you can buy it at Walmart, but that's probably a possibility as well. I haven't been able to see that. And any non-GMO, really, any non-GMO corn chips, blue corn, it could be blue corn, it could be the chips from Yeyos, which we'll use here in a minute. So just the fact is, it depends on what you like. Some chips might be a little bit stronger in lime, or I like the ones that really come with natural flavor, which is salt. What else? What am I missing? We got one more question. Susan Peacock, will you tell us the ingredient I have it? Well, I guess I will tell you the ingredients right now. I'm sorry I missed this question before, but we're going to go over the ingredients for our guacamole. It's a special guacamole that I'm going to be making with special ingredients from the farm, such as the pasote. I know it doesn't call for that, and I'm not sure it does. But it does call for cilantro, obviously. Cilantro is, you have to have cilantro in your guacamole. And then I have a special good ingredient. Most of you guys are familiar with it. It's our chives. And the chive flowers we're going to use for garnishing. See that? We're going to use this for garnishing our guacamole. So you can use a variety of herbs. A lot of people like using oregano, fresh oregano. I like using epazote because it's a little bit more punchy. It has punch in it. It has a little punch, and it's just an ingredient that is used more in Mexico than it is here. We have some tomatoes. The recipe calls for 2 cups of tomatoes, which we have right here. We have some radishes from Rios Family Farm for garnishing. The cilantro, which is 2 ounces of freshly chopped cilantro. We have a little bit of kosher salt, about 2 teaspoons. We have approximately half a cup of onions. I know it calls for red onions, but in this case I had some spring onions here at the restaurant, so I decided to use those. But you can use either spring onions, white onions, whichever onions you got. Vidalia onions, cipollini onions if you grow some of those. And then I have my jalapeno peppers. Now, jalapeno peppers versus serrano. This is a question that I get all the time, and I'm going to tell you, serrano is the way to go. But jalapeno is the more popular pepper here in the United States, at least in the Hispanic community is going to be a little bit more popular to see the serrano versus the jalapeno. That's because we use them more in our kitchens. So we have radishes, tomatoes, herbs, some lime juice that we just pressed, salt, onions, and a little bit of your serrano peppers. Now we have avocados. I typically buy larger avocados because number one, the density is going to be a little different. The seeds are usually smaller, and you can get a little bit more volume out of these than you would from the smaller avocados. These are called Class A. Class A avocados that are just breaking. You should be able to feel your avocados and barely touch them, and you should have a little bit more of a firm texture, and then be able to squeeze on them, and you should feel that tenderness a little bit, but not too much. If it's too soggy and it's too soft, there's a good chance your avocado has over-ripened. So we have all, this is our ingredients for Susan Peacock. You can do your own varieties. You can use mint. If you want a little bit more refreshing avocado, you can use celery, a little bit of celery if you want to. You can use anything really you can use for avocados, for guacamole. Do we have any questions so far? Let me see. You guys helping out here? Onions and jalapenos have my name written all over it. Great job. Which is harder? Okay, that's a good question. I believe that the jalapenos are a little bit less hot than the serrano. Especially if you have one of the serranos that my dad grows. I don't know, for some reason they're super spicy. So what I do, I'm going to show you what I do for the serranos, because they are spicier. I chop them like super petite, like petite dice, or extra petite dice, if there is such thing. I mean, I'll show you here. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to use this little tray. The idea is that you cut this to the smallest possible dice that you can, because that's gonna, and you don't need too much, because if you do too much, obviously the whole guacamole is gonna be a little bit too spicy. What are the questions we have? Oh, radishes in your guac. Not only can you use radishes, you can also use turnips when they're in season. If you roast your turnips, we have a lot of turnips at the farm. If you roast your turnips, and you can use the turnips, because they're nice and sweet. They have a little bit of horseradish flavor, if you will. You can actually literally use this as chips and dip into your guacamole. So I'll show you that in a minute. What other questions we have? All right. Well, I hope you like it. I hope you like your radishes with your guacamole. And by all means, please try the turnips. You can find them at the farmers markets now. I remember Yeyo's is there. My family is going to be there on the weekends at the farmers market. It's Rios family farm. Okay. All right. Having said that, I'm going to go ahead and show you a few key things on making your guacamole. So typically, you cut in half your avocado, and let me know if somebody is actually doing this, if you want me to take my time a little. Do we have any avocados that are really soft? really, really soft. What I'm going to show you guys is a little bit of what I look for in my avocados when I use them for our guacamole. So here is the sliced, pre-sliced, just breaker. We call these breakers. You turn and twist, and you see this beautiful, beautiful avocado. See? And then usually the other half is going to keep the seed. And you don't have to do this, but the best way to keep the seeds out, you just literally turn the seed with the by placing the edge of the knife into your seed. And I'm gonna give you a little trick on these seeds in a minute. I'm gonna actually save this to the side. So now that we have this, okay, we have a really soft avocado. Remember, when you go to the store, you don't want to buy them too green, but when you see this and you see this that has like all this indentations and dents and bruises that you can kind of like see from the outside, please don't buy that avocado. It's going to be bad. It's going to be black. So you want firm avocados all the time. So now that you have this, you can use a can you push the camera a little bit? Sure. So we have the avocado. Remember, my recipe calls for 6 avocados for making 2 quarts. That's kind of like for party-sized people, right? So I'm gonna do 2 avocados, and I'm gonna call it a day. But now you can do your own math. Usually for home, we'll do 6 avocados and it feeds the entire family. Look at this. So you don't have to do this at home, but just you can use your knife as a tool to remove the seeds. Notice something here. I'm going to show you. On these avocados, you can see the creaminess, right? They're all one single color on the outside, which is a brighter green, and then it turns into like a yellowish color, and it's all super oily. See, it needs to be oily because remember the avocados have a lot of good oil that we need. That's why people, you ladies and some of us guys, use it in facials and all kinds of cool stuff like that, right? So we can do that, no problem. So what you want to do is, once you have your avocado scooped out of the shell or the and seeds removed, you don't want to do too much. You don't want to puree it. You want to kind of just mash it together a little bit, break it. You can use the back of your spoon, you can use the front of your spoon. Start incorporating into each other those little pieces there. Mash it a little bit. Now remember, and there's no secret to a good guacamole. I mean, you can literally make it any way you personally like it. I like to use mine with epazote, like I was saying, and maybe even mint. We have some special mint, the Rios family farm, that's called Yeyo. When it actually migrated with us from Mexico, and it's amazing. So if you ever have the opportunity to buy some of the Rios family farm mint, go ahead and do it. Okay? Alright, so we're here. We have our avocados. If you can see, they're not 100% incorporated or pureed or smashed to the bare minimum. It has a little bit of chunks in it. Do we have any questions? Yes. Thank you. for all for all of you guys that joined us, obviously thank you for allowing us to be part of this. We've been trying to come up with great ideas to provide to you guys. We are trying to be smart about the decisions we make here at Yeyos in regards to COVID-19, and we're trying to take care of our people and our employees and our families as well. One of the avocados in season, Roman's here, by the way, as well. The avocados, we're from the state of Michoacan, as many of you guys probably already know. And it's ironic because we have avocados in our home state in Michoacan, in our house, that are better than this, and we can bring them over. But anyway, so the avocado season in Michoacan is pretty much year-round. We have the early season starts at the end of the year, really, right about November time from here in the United States. The state of Michoacan, which is the state where the best avocados in the world come from. It's a peak. And then, but the soil allows for avocados to grow pretty much year round. And in our home state, obviously there's a peak season and then there's a slow season. We do have avocados that are coming in, for instance, from Chile and Peru, and we have the next best kind, in my opinion, my personal opinion. The next best kind after the Michoacan avocados are the ones from California. And if you ever have the opportunity to do a test, buy one that comes from Michoacan and buy one that comes from Peru, because sometimes you can find them both at the stores. And you're gonna find that the avocado from Michoacan has 50 or 60 or 75% more creaminess and taste, and the shelf life, which is important, is going to be at least 2 days longer. Any other avocado will have a lot more water content, and it's just not going to be that's good. I mean, it's just like, this is the best avocados from Michoacan. So that answers the question. For that, do we have any other questions, guys? You guys can help us. All right. So at this point, remember, I'm only doing 2 avocados. Usually your recipe calls for 6, but that's like for when you're having your party and you have family coming over. I recommend getting set up with this for our next feed, which comes for Mother's Day. We have a surprise for you, mothers and your families. It should be fun, so check it out. That should be coming live in the next 24 hours or so. So I have chives, and remember I have the spring onions. These are actually cipollini onions that I had in there. Your recipe calls for red, but it's just as good, okay? So at this point, I'm gonna add, because I'm only making 2 of these, I'm gonna add about a quarter of these, which is medium diced Roma tomatoes. They're in season. If you use heirloom tomatoes and make bigger chunks of it and make the whole thing chunky, you could make a really nice dip for like crackers or some. It doesn't have to always be eaten with chips, by the way. So again, I have my cilantro. In this case, I add a little bit of epazote. Epazote is something that you can find in most of the Mexican stores, and some Walmarts, because they do demographic studies. You know how that works. They study demographics, and you might find it at the Walmart in Rogers. Is that a funny quick fact? There's no season in tomato, because a lot of the tomatoes that we're gonna get here in the spring are gonna come either from California or from other places, other countries. The tomato season here, and as in general in Arkansas, it goes from right around late June or middle of June to about late September, October time frame. And that's where you're gonna find all those heirloom tomatoes and beautiful stuff that you're gonna see at the farmer's market. So I'm gonna do a little bit of chives here. I'm gonna add those in there just for color, a little bit of crispiness, a little bit of punch. So those are the chives. And I'm gonna add my onions. See this? I'm not adding all of them because I'm not making the full thing. We're gonna add, I like the serrano pepper, so look at this. And the colors here, ladies and gentlemen, are impressive. Now I really enjoy a spicy guacamole, so I'm gonna throw all my peppers in there. And then your juice. The recipe should be on the website, or somehow we're gonna make the recipe available for you, ladies and gentlemen. So there's my juice, and then I'm going to finish with some good quality salt. I mean, it could be any kind of salt really, but this is the salt. You can use Epsom salt. I mean, not Epsom salt. Excuse me. You can use kosher salt. Kosher salt is preferred, and that's probably going to make you a really good guacamole. Okay, so here is the product, and all you got to do is once you finish with this, you're going to fold it. You want it a little chunkier. Don't beat the guacamole too much in the beginning. In the summer, this is one of the things that everybody wants to eat. That pretty much sums up the stirring, and there's your final product. Now, if you like herbs, definitely go for, even if you don't have fresh, like say you want to make guacamole in the fall or in the winter, always go for oregano. Oregano is always gonna make your guacamole a little better as well. Yes, the recipe will be available for you guys, and then we're gonna plate it. Can we get a bowl? Sorry, what's we're gonna get a bowl? White bowl. And we're gonna finish with our. I mean, you can finish this with arugula flowers, mustard flowers. If you want to make a nice big bowl for your family or for your mom for Mother's Day, make her a good guacamole. Get some edible flowers. The chive flowers work wonderful. You don't want to do the seeds in the tomato. Actually, I'm going to show you guys a little trick if we can get a tomato in here. I wasn't planning on that, but I think it's a good question on the tomatoes, and I'm going to show you guys how to clean the tomato real quick. Okay, we're just going to wait for that. In the meantime, I'm going to start plating this, and I'll show you guys the trick of tomatoes here shortly. I think that's a super good question because I prefer to not use the seeds of the tomatoes, and I use them for other things like making my rice here at Yeyo's. This is just 2 avocados. This bought almost a quart of the grade A avocados. Remember that. If you have any questions on avocados, shoot me a private message or get in touch with us, and we're definitely going to take care of you as well. Okay? Before we get to the final plating, okay? This is a Roma tomato. Okay? You can do this with any tomato. So what you want to do, the way I like to make my pico de gallo to have it not so watery, for instance, because a lot of times the tomato the juice and the acid from the tomato can make your avocado look a little bit on the darker side, like very fast. So what you want to do is, I usually quarter my tomatoes, and then starting from the tip of the front of the tomato right here, can you get close up a little bit? I remove, that's good enough. I remove the seeds. And then I save the seeds or the heart of the tomato for my rice or for soups or for something else. And it leaves me with a solid, nice and thick part of a tomato that I can then And I'm actually going to use this. See? Now I have a tomato that is nicely chopped, and it's not going to make my avocado or my guacamole black. So I wasn't planning on this, but I'm just going to use those as garnish now. Maybe I can cover those a little bit. I want to present it differently. Okay, anyway, this is a perfect guacamole. If you have a big tray, you can do a big tray for mama. You can do something like that, serve it. Serve it with a bunch of chips on one side, maybe. You can do a bunch of these radishes. And remember, I highly recommend you use the turnips as well. Right? Finish with a little bit more of the cilantro or herbs. And you can, I'm not going to present it the way I would in a big setting, but this is kind of what you're looking for when you're presenting the guacamole to your mama this weekend. And don't forget, we have those kids coming in from Yeyo's, so you can go ahead and go home, make your mama a nice carne asada plate, use the grill, and activate your family's fun lifestyle that we're all missing right now. Okay, so the guacamole, how to keep the okay, so I'm looking at the questions here because I can barely read those. But I have a question on how to keep the guacamole from turning black for the next day or brown. The best tip that I can give you. Oh, you know what? Let me show you something before we do that. Chives. If you want a nice burst of chive flavor, you can do that here as well. Right? Anyhow, we were working on the preserving of the guacamole. Okay, so there's a few things you can do. The number one thing that you need to absolutely make sure of is that there is no air in your container where the guacamole is going to spend the night. So, for instance, if you're going to place your guacamole in one of these pints, you need to make sure that all the air comes to the surface, and then once the air comes to the surface, you're going to use saran wrap or plastic, or not foil but plastic saran wrap. Tap down on the guacamole so that all of the air comes out and it's absolutely air free. And then you can put a second layer by, with the lid or something like that. The other thing that you could do is literally cover that with a little bit of olive oil or canola oil or one of your favorite oils, and that's going to preserve that as well. The other thing you can do is, there's several. The other thing you can do is salt it a little bit more and put a little bit of lime juice on top. That also works really well. But my preferred method, because it's going to allow me to maintain the quality of the guacamole and to the way I like to taste it, is using saran wrap. Okay? Literally, you just want to make sure that you take all the air out and that you have enough lime juice in your guacamole. If you don't like limes, that's going to be a problem. I hope that answers the question. I have had using seeds. And that is actually a good question. I remember I was saying I was going to save the seeds for last. That's a good question, good catch. I normally, when I'm going to save these guacamole for the next day, and you can do it for saving if you're going to, your party doesn't start for the next 2 hours or so. Leave the seeds in there. Mix your guacamole with the seeds included. And leave them there until about 10-15 minutes before you serve, and your guacamole will not turn black. or brown. But I think the key here is as well making sure that you have enough lime juice there. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Why don't you try it outside?
Okay. Well, I'm going to show you guys. We're going to go outside because it's hot in here. We're going to go outside and I'm going to show you guys how to eat it. I hope we don't lose connection. How many of you guys know or are familiar with what we're doing here in the HDR? We've been planning on this, everyone. But now that we have this, it should be nice and spicy, a little salty. Oh my God, I want that wok. You can have it. Okay, so don't forget, don't be afraid of using radishes, turnips. You can even use, like pieces of like grilled potato. I mean, you can use a lot of things as long as they're kind of sliced, or you can use crackers, whatever you want. The guacamole is there for us to enjoy. And like I was saying, so is the art from Octavio. We have quite a few surprises coming in at the Asian market, including menu development. We're doing a little bit of redesigning our bar program, spearheaded by Brenna here. Is going to be equally amazing. So with that said, I want to thank you guys, everybody, for joining us. I'm going to make room for Brenna. And she's gonna show you guys how to, do the one of her favorite drinks, and hopefully you guys can join us here. We should be able to get together soon. We can't wait to see everybody. But I want to thank everybody for supporting us, especially obviously Jera and Leisurlist for being so kind and always thinking of us. And thank you for all your love. We just love everybody, and we're thankful. Okay. Having said that, I'm gonna say bye, and I'm gonna give room to Brenna. Brenna, please show us what we're gonna do today.
Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through how to make our Mezcal Margarita, which is one of our staple margaritas. The most popular would probably be the pineapple margarita, but we're just gonna keep it basic today. So I've already pre-measured out all my ingredients. I like to start with the cheapest, cost-effective ingredient. So I have my agave, lime juice. Fresh lime juice is key. Doesn't take a lot to squeeze your lime. Just grab 2 or 3. Get yourself an ounce or 2 of lime juice, some curacao, or like dry orange, like curacao is really great. Adds a little bit of pop to the margarita. And then for this particular one, we're going to use our well mezcal, which is the Oaxaca Espadín, which Rafael discussed a little bit earlier. So that's kind of the key. Just have everything pre-measured out. When you're at home bartending, it's kind of fun because there are no official rules. So the first thing you want to do after you cut some lime wedges, you're going to use your lime and you're going to just make a little a little base around the half of your glass so that it can be dipped into the salt. You can omit the salt. I personally like to use our house like spicy salt that we get shipped in from Mexico. We add some things to it here. So then you take, after that's prepped, you're going to take your shaker tin. If you don't have a shaker tin, you can use, I'm sure you've been ordering out, you probably have some of those like deli plastic things. Put it in there, throw your ice in there, shake it. Like I said, home bartending, a lot less rules. So you'll take your small size if you have your own tin. We're going to start with the agave, do the lime juice, your curacao, or triple sec, whatever floats your boat, and then your mezcal. I do equal parts of curacao and agave, and then about a 1 to 2 with lime juice and mezcal. So it's all nice in the bottom of my shaker tin. You're going to take your ice, fill that bad boy up to the top. Janet will get me a little bit more ice in there for me. And you're going to pop this on. The key is to make sure you shake the ice through all like 4 corners of your tin. Give it about 15, 20. This should start to get nice and like you can see the frost kind of coming on the outside. Pop apart your shaker. I like to double strain, that way I don't get any little ice chips in my margarita that kind of dilute the flavor. So you take your hawthorn strainer and your cocoa strainer, pour it in there. It's in that short cooler. So after you shake it and pour it out, you should have some nice little bubbles on the top. So you shook it hard enough. And Janet will come back with the ice. While she's grabbing that, I will mention to you guys that we are going to be expanding our bar kits, cocktail kits for you guys to take home. Last week we did a michelada and a mojito, and it went really well. So we're going to keep those, add a few more. Thank you. We're going to probably add like a frozen option. So we make the mix, you take it home, get your alcohol and some ice, throw it in your blender. We'll have a couple of different options also for Mother's Day, doing a couple of different bar things. So keep a lookout at the Struggle Bar Instagram. You can find that through Yeyo's, or you can just search for Struggle Bar. So now after you do this, you'll ice. If you use a scoop, it's a lot easier. I'm not going to lie. Okay. And then you'll just garnish with your little lime wedge. And then it's ready to enjoy with your guacamole.